What is going on, everybody? Liam Mitchell back with another video, and yet again, I got my friend on my side, Mr. Chuck Fonshell. Chuck, how you doing?
Oh, it feels good to be 6-2, Mr. Mitchell. It feels good to be 6-2.
It sure does, my friend. Bucks beat the Giants 25-23. We're going to do a preview of the Saints game today, but just real quickly, I made a little 10-minute video on the game yesterday, just about the performance. I just want to ask you before we dive into the Saints game, what were your thoughts, just real quick?
A win is a win is a win. After the last 12 years, it's really hard to complain about wins. The Giants, it might have been premature of us to call such a, maybe judging by records only as we predicted scores. You look at the Giants scores and they've stayed in most of their games this year. I believe that Joe Judge might actually have what it takes to be a good head coach in the NFL. At least he's got the attention of his players early in the season. Daniel Jones, he can make some plays, and we saw that in him bringing really leading the team pretty effectively. Hit a lot of short passes against off coverage. Thankfully for the Bucks, he can't really hit the deep shot right now. Otherwise, we might be 5-3. But again, we'll take the win. Might have been a look ahead game. We got basically the game of the year coming up tomorrow night, Sunday Night Football against the New Orleans Saints.
Absolutely. Game of the year, man. This is for number one in the NFC South. And, I mean, 0-2 against the Saints would not look kind for us moving forward in this season. So,
But Liam, Super Bowl year 2002 went 0-2 against the Saints.
This is correct. That is factual. The Bucks went 0-2 against the Saints. Actually started 0-3 in the John Gruden era against the Saints. Had their troubles. Weirdly enough, I mean, that Saints team wasn't terrible. I think they went 8-8 that season, but they did have our number that year.
Was that Aaron Brooks quarterbacking the Saints back then, I want to say?
Aaron Brooks throwing to Joe Horn, Dante Stallworth, Boo Williams, Deuce McAllister was running the ball. But, yeah, they had both close games, but they had our number. Let's hope it's a bit of a different story tomorrow. So, first time in 12 years, Sunday Night Football is being hosted in Tampa Bay. Al Michaels is my favorite announcer, so I'm happy to get to hear Mr. Michaels announce a game for us. It's the first time we have a Sunday night game in 4 years. The Saints have won 4 straight in the series. The last time the Bucks beat the Saints was Fitzmagic in Week 1 of 2018 when he lit them up for over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Bucks put up 48 in that game. Looking like the weather tomorrow night going to be pretty in the mid-70s, 50, 60% chance of rain. We may see some showers. Again, I say it every video. I'm in Cali, but how is it out there? Is it pretty wet and rainy?
It's not rainy yet, but it's definitely overcast. There's one of the later storms that you'll ever hear about here, as it's November 7th. Eta in the Latin alphabet used to be a Category 4 storm, worked its way through Central America. Now it's up working through Cuba, and we're going to start to see effects from it tomorrow night, and it's going to be kind of giving me a headache for the next few days, but with any luck, it should be decent football weather, if not a bit moist.
Man, I don't think it's rained in California in 5, 6, 7 months. I don't even know. It's been a long time. It's been months since we've seen a drop of rain out here. Supposedly it rained this morning before I woke up, but I don't know. Anyway, quickly,
that has something to do with fires you guys deal with all the time.
Yeah. Injury report. Looks like Chris Godwin is going to play. He's most likely going to play. Antonio Brown is going to play. It looks like we should have our plethora of receivers this week. 2 huge names that we didn't have on Monday. Unfortunately, it does look like we're going to be missing Ali Marpet. And Joe Haig's going to step into that right guard spot. So, that's a big hit. I think Marpet's the best offensive lineman on this team. So hopefully we can protect Tom, because, that's the number one thing with Tom Brady. You got to protect him so he can stand in the pocket and deliver to our star receivers. Do you think they're going to be able to get after Brady?
Well, they did in the first game. You saw pressure from some unlikely sources. The Saints are going to be without Sheldon Rankin, so they put on IR, so he's out for at least 3 games. But they're getting back Marcus Davenport, who didn't play in the first game against the Bucks. Trey Hendrickson, who gave Donovan Smith a lot of trouble, is back. He's got 5.5 sacks already on the season. Cam Jordan, just because he was quiet in the first game doesn't mean you can count him out. He's been a Pro Bowler for a long time. He's a guy that's given the Bucs a lot of headaches. You're, I think, going to have to see the short passing game get established for the Bucs. If you've got Antonio Brown, that's definitely a short passing weapon. Chris Godwin, you don't know what kind of effect he's going to have. He's coming back from a broken finger. They cut into it like less than 10 days ago to try and heal that broken finger. So it's sore still. He's playing with a modified glove. You wonder, is he just a decoy or is he actually a guy that you can really expect to be a big passing target? You worry about the run game. Ali Marpet, not just the best offensive lineman on our team, but one of the best offensive guards in football. So losing him is a big deal. Whether it's AQ Shipley or Joe Haig, less likely, I think, that they would put a reserve tackle in at the guard spot. You just hope that we can coach him up and execute. Because, again, just like you said, if you keep Tom Brady clean, you like the odds for our offense to be able to score points. They were effective at times against the Saints in week 1, and that was Tom's first game as a Buck. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference is, man, Tom's had a lot more time to gel with this offense. This team is a lot different than they were in week 1. And I expect a more clean performance from the offense this game. I don't want to jinx anybody here, but I'd be pretty surprised if Tom Brady threw another pick 6.
I mean, he's on a nice streak of not doing it. It seemed like for a little while early in the season that was just going to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer rite of passage, especially in a Bruce Arians offense. But for the most part, if we just don't throw out routes to friend Justin Watson, we're good. Throw the man a slant. Throw the man a stop. Don't throw him an out.
Don't throw to Justin Watson on an out. Other big news, it looks like Michael Thomas is going to be back. And they're saying it's going to be like a game-time decision. He hasn't played since that week 1 game with the Bucs. He's been practicing in a limited capacity. I think he's going to play. I mean, this is a huge game for the Saints. They really need this one. I do think Mike Thomas is going to play, so the Bucs DB's got to be ready for that one. Carlton Davis, though, again, I think is a top 10 corner in the NFL.
I'm holding up 3 fingers. 3 catches for 17 yards Michael Thomas had against Carlton Davis week 1. He is not a deep threat. He's an elite route runner, but as he's been called by his own teammates, he's slant boy. So if you just guard him short, for me, the much, much bigger threat is Alvin Kamara. They're going to get Alvin Kamara the ball left, right, middle. They're going to swing it left, right. They're going to hit him on some Texas routes into the middle. I think the key to this game is just going to be how Levante David and Devin White are able to match up against Alvin Kamara, because that Drew Brees wants to get him the football. He is far and away their best weapon, especially given the fact that Drew Brees just doesn't seem to have an arm for the deep ball anymore.
No, he doesn't. Exactly what you said. And I mean, how many times has Alvin Kamara been targeted this season? Off the charts. He's Drew's favorite target. Dinks and dumps to him all the time. Luckily for us, Devin White, Levante David, extremely fast. I think we match up better than anyone in the NFL in terms of covering the backside of the backfield in that aspect. So, yeah, I mean, Michael Thomas, like you said, I think he's going to be the number 1 guy to shut down Jared Cook. And for I just got to say this. This is kind of out of nowhere. But I've seen this for years now with Drew Brees. If it's 4th and inches or 3rd and inches, can someone just jump the snap and knock the ball out of Brees' hands when he's trying to sneak? Every single time. He's like
he's got a technique. He's got a technique. Brady's got the dive and Brees has the leap.
Can someone please jump the snap and knock the ball out of this man's hands? He does it every game.
I mean, if the play clock's down to 1 second, sure, that'll work. But if he snaps it with anything more than that, all he's going to do is draw a 5-yard neutral zone infraction, maybe even an unnecessary roughness when you land on him, and he wins the day. So I get your point. But that's just a wily veteran doing wily veteran things. And that's what you can expect from Drew Brees. This is a guy that leads the league record books in passing yardage. He's right up there with Tom Brady on passing touchdowns, and he's done it in less time. He's one of the greatest to ever do it. And even if he can't throw the ball deep, you can see him beating teams with slants and stops and hitches and drags. He is a very, very intelligent football player. And you know that based on the film that we put together on the Giants, they're probably licking their chops, hoping that the Buccaneers play them the same way that they did the Giants, sitting back 8 yards off the line of scrimmage and just giving up 6 yards a pop. I'd like to think that we'll make adjustments based on what the Saints present on film. The Todd Bowles is a smart defensive coordinator. He's going to be aggressive, and we've got the cornerbacks to match up. I know Jamel Dean got beat on some double moves a few times against the Giants, but I worry about that less given Daniel Jones' arm versus Drew Brees' arm. So there are definitely some matchups to watch, and I'm just ready for it to be 8 o'clock on a Sunday night.
So am I, man. So am I. So all right. Over under. What's your prediction on Antonio Brown's catches? How many? How many does he have? I mean, this is who knows, but
Week 2 last year, Patriots at Dolphins. He was targeted 8 times. I think he came back with 4 catches for 54 yards. We've already heard from Bruce Arians that they've installed a package for him. And he could play as few as 10 or 15 snaps. He could play as many as 30. He doesn't expect him to go for 60 to 75 snaps. So, if he's on the field for half the time, Brady's going to look for him because he's a guy that can get open quickly. Mike Evans is a bit of a strider. He's a downfield guy. That's probably why you see his targets down a little bit, because Tom Brady likes getting the ball out fast. I could see him catching anywhere from 3 to 5 passes, anything over that, and maybe it bodes well for the future of the offense. But that Tom Brady's not going to rely solely on any one player. He's going to analyze the defense pre-snap. He's going to make some checks, make some reads, and he's going to try to throw whoever he believes is going to be open within 2 seconds of the ball being snapped. If that's Brown, God bless him.
absolutely, man. I mean, we've been saying it all season, but God, if you would have told me just a year ago, the Bucs had Tom Brady throwing the football, so Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin,
Rob Gronkowski.
That's who I forgot Gronk for a sec.
There was an exciting name in there.
Yeah, just mind blown. You just think to yourself, like, how are they gonna? Okay, sure, Marshawn Lattimore. You want to cover Mike Evans? I mean, who do you can't double everybody. It's just a plethora of weapons for Tom.
It is. You mentioned Marshawn Lattimore, and this is a guy who we have known for a long time to be a very good corner. The first time he broke into the league, I want to say it was 2016, immediately took the league by storm. And yet this season, after the first game where he pretty much shut Mike Evans down, he's actually been pretty susceptible. I think he's given up something like 26 catches, 4 touchdowns, nearly 400 yards to opposing receivers. He does not look like the same Pro Bowl cornerback. Now, could a matchup with Mike Evans be the solution that he needs? Maybe. But their defensive line is about the only part of their defense that scares me. I think that we have targets that are better than their secondary. And I think that their linebackers, they've got Demario Davis, who is, I think, a pretty good football player. A lot of people are like, well, he's the best linebacker in the NFC South, to which I say, oh, you simply just haven't heard of a guy named Levante David. But I think on paper, this is a team that the Bucs can win against. In week 1, if you go back and you watch that game, the Buccaneers could very well have beaten the Saints if they hadn't beaten themselves. You look at special teams gaffes, you look at defensive penalties, you look at the pick 6. They made so many mistakes, and it was still a game that they were within a score of in the fourth quarter. If the Buccaneers clean that up and they've just not been beating themselves the last 3 weeks after that Chicago Bears game, who knows? Well, we could be looking at a 7-2 football team about 30 hours from now.
And I cannot wait for this game. I wish I could be there in person. It's just, I'm so excited about it, man. And then next week, the week after the game, we got Carolina on the road, which you'd think should be a win. So I can feel it. I can feel the energy. I'm praying that we finally get back to the playoffs. And, it starts week by week, little by little, you just keep building them up. So, man,
This 4 week stretch here will likely define the season. After the bye, the 4 games after that, we're going to play the Vikings, we're going to play the Lions, we're going to play the Falcons twice. That's a stretch that a good football team should be able to run the table. So it
exactly.
simply comes down to what's the Bucks record after the next 4 games. If we're 8-4, should be okay. If we're 9-3, we're in really, really good shape for a potentially really great playoff seeding. So if you win this game to start that 4 game stretch, you got good feelings. You've got the team starting to believe in itself. After the Panthers comes the Rams, another Monday night game at home. So Raymond James Stadium, the next 3 weeks is going to be able to host 2 premier football games, and it's been a long time since we've been able to say that.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see with this whole new 7 seeds in the playoffs, especially with the NFC East being as bad as it is. You wonder. I mean, even back in 2010, when the Bucks went 10-6, we weren't the only 10-6 team to not make the playoffs. The Giants also went 10-6 that season and did not make the playoffs. So there, and that was the same year Seattle won the West at 7-9. So there is still a possibility that you could miss the playoffs at 10-6. So you're going to want to try and win as many games as possible in this crowded NFC. So, and let's hope it's the division.
Well, starting 6-2 helps. We
Absolutely.
would have to go 4-4 the rest of the way to go 10-6. At this point, 11-5 would almost feel like a disappointment. So you look for, you just have to take it 1 game at a time, and that's what the coaches are telling the players. You hope that that's what the players are believing themselves. I'd like to think that Monday night game against the Giants was a wake-up call. Bill Parcells said that you are what your record says you are, and yet the Buccaneers played down to a 1-7 team. So, they just got to bring their A game. They're going to have about 16, 17,000 fans in attendance. Hopefully they can glean off that energy, the bright lights of Sunday Night Football, knowing that they're the only show in town, and even without their best offensive lineman, put their best foot forward. My key to the game is a front four. Drew Brees is very good at finding and beating the blitz. We have to figure out a way to generate some pressure with only 4 guys. I kind of had a little hope that maybe the Bucks would trade a high pick for the Jets defensive tackle Quentin Williams. It was a pipe dream. That didn't happen. So we're going to have to ask for some sort of pressure up the middle from a combination of Ndamukong Suh, Raheem Nunez-Roches, maybe Steve McClendon, the new guy. Somebody has got to be able to push the pocket, because we're not going to have Vita Vea now to do it. And when you talk about your edge guys and Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett, they typically don't have time to get to Drew Brees, given the speed with which he gets the ball out. Tom Brady, 8 games, 10 sacks. Drew Brees, 7 games, 9 sacks. You don't get to him very often.
This is one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. Ryan Ramczyk, Teron Armstead. These guys can play, man. Their O-line is tops of the league. Stumbling on my words there, but you're absolutely right. I mean, these guys got to – Shaq Barrett's had his struggles against the Saints in these past few games, so hopefully he can get some pressures. He's only got 3 sacks this year. He had a couple pressures on Monday, both of which forced interceptions, bad throws by Daniel Jones. I think JPP's got, 5.5, 6.5 sacks this year. But you're absolutely right, because Drew Brees is fantastic against the blitz, and this front four, they got to figure out a way to get some pressure. Hopefully Todd Bowles can dial something up, because that's absolutely a key to this game, is getting on Drew Brees and creating turnovers. Right now, the Bucks lead the turnover differential battle against the Saints. Bucks have a +6. Saints are at a +1. So far that looks good for us, but
I mean, what that says, because that they don't turn the ball over much. Drew Brees doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. What that means is that they're not generating many turnovers as a defense. You look at the 2 that the Bucks gave them on those Tom Brady interceptions in Week 1. They haven't gotten a lot since then. So if the Bucks can just play a clean game, not give the Saints extra possessions, not corrupt your own possessions as you try and push down the field and generate points and offense yourself. The Saints are as vulnerable a 5-2 team as you're going to see. And It's just going to come down to whether or not the Bucs can play up to their potential against a truly good opponent. We saw them do it against Green Bay. Will they do it now against the Saints?
I've been saying it. I think on their best day, the Bucs are the best team in the NFL. I think the only team that questions that, makes that questionable, is maybe Kansas City. But I think on their best day, the Bucs are the best team in the NFL. I think they are better than the Saints right now.
I find it interesting that you don't mention the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, I don't think Pittsburgh is. Their defense, great. Their offense, I don't see it. I've never been a big fan of James Conner. Ben Roethlisberger's older. Look, Chase Claypool's been good, but I don't see it. I don't think they're better than the Bucs right now. I don't. I really don't. So maybe we'll see them in the Super Bowl.
I would love to find out, wouldn't you?
And then we'll see the Chiefs in a few weeks. So that'll be a very real and true test. As for this one, Chuck, give me your prediction, man. What do you got?
I don't expect a huge offensive output. I think this one's going to be very, very close. I'm thinking it's a shootout, and so to speak. I don't think like 30-point outputs or anything like that, but I think this is going to come down to a field goal. They've got a good field goal kicker. We've got a guy in Ryan Suckup that's been pretty good as well. So I think whoever wins, it'll be close, and I feel good. I feel optimistic. I'm going to call 27-24. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers get a leg up in the race for the NFC South.
I smile every week because we're always extremely close, my friend. I got the Bucs 31 to the Saints 24. So I got us by a touchdown, but it's always close, isn't it? We're close every week.
I like yours better.
Randy Moss and Booger McFarland stole my prediction last week. They predicted in the pregame show it was going to be 42-10, and I think Booger said 43-10. But I was kind of surprised. I was like, wow, I thought maybe they're taking bold shots too.
If it makes you feel any better, you know exactly how close that game is going to be, or you are exactly as wrong as guys that get paid a lot more than you.
Exactly. Way more, as in I don't make a cent doing this. But hey, it's all good. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so excited for this game. One of the most excited I've ever been for a Bucs game.
Bucs Nation is, man. All of us in Red Imputer around the world are excited for a marquee matchup to determine the fate of the team going forward.
This is our year, fellas. Ladies and gents, this is our year. All right, Chuck, thank you so much for coming on with me. Thank you guys for watching. Let us know your guys' predictions down in the comments, and we will see you guys in the next one. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.